Hi everybody, thanks for checking out this Marvel Avengers Alliance video on G4G. Today's background music is brought to you by a half hour of 12-string guitar by Rob Scallon, which I may have to lower a little bit. Okay, so, a little while back, actually not too long ago, I did a video on how Electro can set up for two different teams, Bishop and Captain Marvel. In one of those variants, Electro basically charged everybody with electricity so that they became elemental, so that Bishop would tank them. I then went ahead and did the same thing and charged everybody up with electricity so they became elemental, so that Captain Marvel benefited from it. It was brought up in the discussion of that Storm has some benefits from it too, and I just happened to remember that there's somebody else who's going to benefit from this, and he's a fellow member of the Sinister Six. So let's go ahead and try this out and see if it works. Now this one, I admit, I haven't pre-tried this one yet, so we're going to learn from it. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get Storm in here. So my agent gear is already set up. We're all set to go. Just need to change the gear a little bit. Got the safeguard suit, so I have the rectifier, the two hammers, the weather control device, and a lantern of doom, similar to how I did in the last video. Hi Arthas. We're going to go ahead and get Electro. And we're going to go ahead and get Storm. Now, Storm has a wonderful ISO that helps her out with this, where we start with the Protective Shroud. Unfortunately, I don't have that ISO, so we're going to have to go with her the way she is, but you do need her alt suit. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is start with the rectifier. And I'm just going to go ahead and bat the power armor, because we know he's going to tank. Fortunately for us, Electro goes early on, so the key here is to use Surge and hit everybody on the enemy team with this. So they now all, like I've said before, become Pikachu. All their attacks gain the electricity type, or, more importantly, the major category, the elemental type. See, now they're all suffering energy feedback because of the rectifier. I'm just going to stay put because we don't want to kill people yet. We want to give Storm a chance to get the Shroud up. So, typically, we want to go ahead and get the Shroud up as soon as possible. But you always want to open up with the Blizzard whenever possible, as it unlocks Storm into doing more things. So in this round, just going to heal up a little bit. Electro's going to pass his 2 turns, because we don't want to kill anybody. Hopefully we get some reinforcements. I would love some AoE from her so that Storm gets an extra turn, but she's been sticking to single target here. There we go, got some reinforcements. Now we can go ahead and get the Shroud. Now, typically, Elemental Mastery doesn't help her too much with her offense. So I didn't have to do the Blizzard first, but I always like to. So now they still have Livewire on them, so they are still electrical. Let's see this. So, their protective shroud just created an outright dodge. We're not really getting a good example of the damage reduction here. But you are seeing the outright dodging, so you can see how powerful that is. The problem with Storm is that she is an absolute stamina hog. Which nowadays in PvP, we do know that to be an issue. Unfortunately, that was full damage because Livewire is gone from them. So let's just kill them and start this over. Now, typically, if I was just going to highlight the damage reduction, I would just be redoing the video at this point. But seeing her dodge shroud is just as important. That it's a very big thing that she brings to the table. Outright dodging abilities, is really solid. So let's try this again. This time we won't open up with the blizzard. We'll get the protective shroud right up. And then we'll move on to the second team up. Alright, so he gets to surge everybody early, which is good, but he's going after the rectifier, which kind of sucks, but that's okay. This time we'll go right into Storm Shroud ability. So everybody on the enemy side is now elemental / electrical. So now watch what happens. Very, very low damage. Only double digits to my agent. And of course the Thunderstrike is kicking in because the Thunderstrike is considering that an electrical attack that she did. All that damage is super reduced. You don't have to run both hammers for these teams. I like them because of the chain lightning, which also procs energy feedback. And I've tested this on the stream with the Rectifier and Beta Ray Bill with energy feedback at static charge and thunder rolls. Let me tell you, it's kind of godly. So you get to see how she's got a pretty solid reduction here. And it just allows Electro to just, ramp up and do his thing and be better. Plus, with her level 1, she gets an energy rebound off of it. So she gets some sustain by self-healing simply by doing what Storm is supposed to do. Now, here's the big test. This is going to be the one that I'm really interested in seeing as to what's going to happen. And that's going to be his Sinister 6 buddy, who currently is gaining no Sinister 6 buffs. Sandman. Okay, so for him, he has Shifting Sands and Sandstone. Protects allies from single target attacks. Of course, with him being a stock bruiser, that means we can give him multiple bruiser ISOs. He has his personal, but he has an empty slot here, so you could easily give him grit. Or big and fast. I mean, there's definitely a lot of possibilities for him. On his pound, I have Sudarasu, so that he's stealthy. Hammering Blow, I have increased damage. Sand Spikes, I have collapsing. But you can also do the one that says that he hits flyers. Gathering Sand, there's some multiple ones you could do here. If you run him with the Elite ISO, you could give him Blessed. Which means every time he gets hit by melee, his healing increases. You can go with Gracious. And Manifesting you don't want to do because he's only giving it to himself. But there is one that says a buff action creates combat expertise. And that's this one. So you've got a wide variety of things that you can do on this. I'm going to go ahead and leave everything in place for now. But again, there's so much you could do. Sudarasu is just good for PvP. It allows him to walk around somebody who may tank him with their own elite ISO. So because his Shifting Sands says that he is going to evade electricity type attacks, the idea is hopefully once everybody becomes electrical, he should become a gigantic evasion tank. But we'll see. We don't know how it's going to work yet. So I don't want to do any damage here because I don't want to kill people quickly. But I'm just going to rest. Now remember, we need single target attacks. So there is some big attacks coming his way over here because that's Blaster on Bruiser. So I mean he's getting hurt. He's getting really hurt. Fortunately, right after Electro goes, I'm gonna have my agent heal him. So he's just doing a bang-up job of countering everybody and killing them. Alright, so we're gonna rest here on my agent's turn. I'm just gonna go like big heavy heals on him here. Okay. So now at this point, Form of Sand should be kicking in. Everybody over here is electrical. So he should be stepping up against single target and then evading it. But we'll see. That's an AoE. That won't count. But it counts for the Thunderstrike. And he counters it, which is pretty cool. He steps up. So no, he doesn't wind up evading. The crit seems to be gone. And it looked like he gained a shield there? Oh yeah, that's the shield from... So it doesn't seem to be working out quite like we had hoped. There was a dodge there, but he definitely still seems to be taking damage. So even though the attacks are the electricity type, because they're not just full-on electricity, it seems like Shifting Sands is just not counting. And that's a shame. I had some hopes for that one. I really hoped he would be something like Bishop, but whereas Bishop takes the damage, just tanks it, I was hoping that Sandman would step up, tank it, and just create like a dodge scenario, but he's... yeah, he's still taking damage. It seems to be very little damage, probably thanks to his super grit stacks. And he probably could be augmented really nicely with an Emerald Prism or a Jade Prism, but unfortunately it seems like the experiment of electrifying people and Sandman just outright negating the damage doesn't seem to be working. Let's just try it. Bleeding, burning, and chilled. Okay, let's just try one target and see what happens over here. So Ironclad's going to be straight up melee, so if I had the Grit ISO on Sandman, he would of course be healing every time he tanks Ironclad. So that's AoE. Single target. Okay. Pretty big hit on Ironclad there. So we're going to surge him. So he's now melee and electric. Let's see what Sandman does here if we get any single target coming in. Sandman steps up. One dodge and one full-on legit hit. Yeah, so it does seem to be that the trick for Bishop and Captain Marvel really isn't working with Sandman. Now, if you had a Deb and you enabled Sandman to see stealthy items and subtle items, he is a glorious tank with his immunity to attrition and everything like that, and ground effects, but unfortunately it seems like the Sandman Electro experiment fails. So Bishop, Storm, and Captain Marvel work. Sandman, unfortunately, does not. It's a shame because his passive states it, and you know, it's like Emma Frost against Magneto. If you were to psychic tap Magneto from Emma to Magneto, Magneto doesn't even take the damage from the actual hit, let alone actually get the psychic tap, but he full on doesn't even take the damage. The Neuro Purge, he dodges, same thing for Juggernaut, but unfortunately the rules are not quite the same for Sandman. So, Storm is a win, Sandman is a failure. Thanks for checking out the video, guys. Have a good one.